2.
Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy, car enthusiast, and Dave's fiance, Dustin, reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake, environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are inside movies galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
To heal. Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to continue a franchise that my fiance Tammy has brought to the table. So, which movie did you have us watch for this week?
Jaws 2.
And Jaws 2 is directed by Jeannot Szwarc. It's hard to say his name, so I'm not exactly sure how. But I do want to say that he is well known for not only directing this movie, but he also directed a movie with Christopher Reeve in it called Somewhere in Time, which is a time-traveling movie of some sort, which I haven't watched, but I know Tammy has. But let's see what IMDb says about this particular film. Police Chief Brody must protect the citizens of Amity after a second monstrous shark begins terrorizing the waters. So not only is the town of Amity haunted by ghosts, it's also attacked on its beaches by sharks.
Oh yeah.
But the writers are Peter Benchley, Carl Gottlieb, and Howard Sackler. And the movie stars Ray Scheider, Lorraine Gary, and Murray Hamilton, among many others. So, let's go around the room and I guess, Tammy, did you want to bring us into first impressions?
Sure. I don't remember when I watched it the first time, so I mean, all the Jaws movies have been around for a while, so.
Well, this one was filmed in 1978.
Like I said, they've all been around for a while. In 1978, I was 6 years old.
Yep, and the first Jaws was only 3 years before that, so.
So I was 3 years old.
You were 3 years old when Jaws attacked the beaches of Amity.
But, as an adult, I have watched all of the Jaws movies numerous times. And, it happens very often that I'm sitting here looking for something to watch on TV, and one of them is on. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll watch that, I mean, I own the Jaws movies, but I'll tell you what, except for now that we're doing them for this, I have not pulled out my actual movies and watched them in a long time because they have all of the Jaws on TV quite a bit. And then this last month or so, they've been running all of them because the 50th anniversary of Jaws itself, you know. But yeah, it kept me interested like the first one, and you get your moments like, oh, it's gonna get away from the shark, and
Hmm.
you, it's I mean, there's not really too much to say. If either you were intrigued and interested, and it kept you interested because of the shark, or you couldn't have cared less. It's whatever. I liked it because I liked the first one, so of course I wanted to see the next one. So,
Okay.
we did do a little bit behind the scenes watching on it, and I know that there was a lot of controversy with the directors and everything because they kept going back and forth about one said they should show less of the shark, and another said they should show more of the shark and everything, and um I think they showed the right amount of the shark. I actually, you know, I think if they would have showed less, it would have taken away, and if they would have showed more, I think it would have been too much. I think what they decided on showing as far as the shark itself, I think they came to a good decision.
Okay.
So,
Who was
okay.
next?
Uh, well, either you or me.
Oh, why don't you go? What was your first impressions of this movie? I assume this was the first time watch.
Yeah, you assume correctly. Well, it was interesting. Unfortunately, there were parts where I wasn't able to pay full attention as I kept getting phone calls while watching the movie. But overall, it was interesting, fitting sequel to the first one. With I'd say similar a similar combination of horror and humor and things like that. It had its good moments, some good spoof and stuff, and yeah, I'm glad I saw it. I wonder if we are going to continue doing them.
As far as I know, on Tammy's turn, we are. So, but is that pretty much it for your first impressions then?
Oh, pretty much. For the most part, I did enjoy the movie while I was able to focus without distractions.
Well, while
Yes,
you
Philippe,
watched,
we are watching the rest of we went through your one, so now you can go through my one.
Of course, well, it's not a problem. They're not boring or anything. I,
although the budget does get lower as they go.
oh,
um, but in any case, I'm not sure when I actually first saw this in its entirety. I think because I do believe that we watched Jaws for the regular show, um, and I think what we did is when watched when I watched Jaws, I ended up watching Jaws 2 again. but I had always caught bits and pieces of it on like TNT or USA Network or Bravo, which was TV for men who like TV. um, those were TV channels in the U.S. that you would be able to find these movies on. I think they even came on the Sci-Fi Channel from time to time. But in any case, I always get a kick out of this one a little bit because Brody he definitely has the right thing. I mean, he knows that there's another shark. It's just the town's mayor. He's always about keeping the beaches open, and he's working with a new guy who is evidently a kind of a schlub who's kind of got his hands roving on his on Cheap Brody's wife, you know, and rubs him all the wrong way, anyways. Um, so I feel like I feel bad for Cheap Brody in here because he gets fired for no reason, and when shit hits starts to hit the fan, everyone's all like, "I'm sorry, I was just this." I'm like, "You idiots!" But and
Yeah.
the chick that continues to scream consistently in the end, she annoys me. I
Yeah.
mean, wouldn't you think that noise actually attracts sharks too?
Quite possibly. Actually, I was almost sure she was going to get eaten, but in the end, she didn't. Right?
Yeah, and she's the one that convinced Mike, Cheap Brody's son, to come along to begin with. So
What I had
Uh,
see, what I understood though, it was that it was noise and vibration and everything in the water itself is what got their attention. Like,
well,
you know,
as
because
loud as she was screaming, don't you think it would be heard underwater?
I guess.
possibly.
Well, yeah. So to me, she was part of the problem. But
Uh,
anyways, we'll get into that later on. To me, that's how I feel about the film. I'm kind of in the middle because yes, there are some cool things, like the fact that Brody finds the body, and that's a little bit of a jump scare of that
oh
boater.
yeah.
But other than that, and the fact that the ending, which I'm sure we'll get into. So,
Oh, the ending was badass.
but other than that, I mean, I wish there was more of a body count.
You wish for that, huh?
I wish there was more of a body count because when you think sequel, you think this movie is going to top the first.
Ah,
You know,
makes
although
sense.
at the time we found out while watching some of the behind the scenes that Planet of the Apes was actually the first franchise that popularized the sequels in a franchise.
Wow, really?
Yeah, at the time they were the only film that had actually gone into the sequel territory. So when Jaws was doing it, they were like the second ones in line to do so.
Oh wait, Planet of the Apes. You say uh
The one from 1970s.
1970s. Okay, and the sequel is from which year?
Let's see. The Planet of Planet of the Apes franchise. Okay, so Beneath the Planet of the Apes. See, Planet of the Apes was from 1968, the original.
Oh, 1968, and the
Yep,
sequel.
it was in 1970.
Ah,
Before
okay.
this, before this, there had been no sequels made of any movie,
Huh.
uh, per se. From what I understand, or if there was, it wasn't popularly known. There were remakes.
Someone once told me that the first movie with popular sequel was Superman, but maybe that person was wrong.
Well, let's see. Superman.
Yes,
Superman.
is
Richard
newer than.
Donners. Richard Donners.
Yeah, it's newer than Planet of the Apes after all.
Superman the movie was from 1978.
Yes, the sequel from 1980.
Well, yeah. Although the Donner cut was from 2006
Huh. Interesting.
when they edited that together for Superman 2. So, um, because after the Supermans were made, and then the director ended up getting his own cuts of the Supermans put together. So it
Whew.
depends on what cut, because there were many cuts. But we're not talking about Superman.
But those movies were
Eh,
still after Planet of the Apes, so they're
Correct.
yeah.
Those movies were still after the Planet of the Apes. I mean, look at this. You got Planet of the Apes from 1968, Beneath the Planet of the Apes from 1970. In 71 was Escape from. In 72 was Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and in 73 it was Battle for. And they had a remake in 2001, and of course there was the reboot series, which was Rise of, Dawn of, War for, and Kingdom of. So, but all before even Jaws, the original Planet of the Apes franchise had already been filmed. So it was I would have to say it is one of the longest franchises.
Interesting.
So you can tell that friend of theirs to shove it. But in any case, move over, Superman. It was apes. But in any case, I enjoyed this movie for what it is at the end of the day. I mean, IMDb uh, has a rating that's like in the middle, where they've got like 5.6 people who like it, percentage or whatever. But ultimately, I think at the end of the day it made money. But and I mean, it wasn't a box office movie, but it certainly made the money, made the studios money, and it was a hit. So, Tammy, did you want to bring us into the plot?
well. I know we watched some of the behind the scenes, and they ran into a lot of the same problems that they ran into with the first one.
Yeah, weather elements, and there was a moment where the shark wouldn't work, um, even though it was a totally a brand new mechanical shark. Um, they
They
used
were
the
actually
same
using two
molding.
different sharks. Two. They were
Yeah,
using two of them on this one.
they were using two different ones. One was one that they could raise up and down on a platform that the platform would be able to raised or lowered into the water. And the other one, I believe, was one that they were able to use with divers, if I remember correctly. Correct.
Yeah, something like that.
Like one that could also float, and but at one point in time, if I remember correctly, they had to have them go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make that particular secondary shark. Its mouth had to open wide enough for it to look like it was chomping down on things.
Yeah, they wanted the show that it opened, So
Yep. So they went back to the drawing board and came back with something that worked. But they also had fairly similar problems as far as weather. In fact, they were filming somewhat into December, and they didn't want to film past December 22nd, I believe, because they didn't want to uh, uh, go into Christmas time of that particular year or whatnot. And Murray, the guy who played the mayor, evidently he was about to walk off the set, and one of the producers stopped him. And as he was talking to him, his wife was dying. Was supposedly had cancer, and he said he's sorry, but he has to go back and be with her. And they convinced him to, in the next 2 to 3 days, to finish out his role so that they could send him back.
Oh, why?
And he finished out what he needed, and uh, he he I guess he died himself not too long after that.
Oh, what happened to him?
I think he died of natural causes or something like that. I have to look, but Murray, the guy who played the guy, he at least finished his role. You know, he was a professional actor. So,
Huh.
other than that, Tammy, bring us into the plot line.
well, it's the same thing as that time of year. They're expecting Amity is expecting all the flood of people. Their big, big money maker of all the people coming at that time of year for the beaches and the water and the everything. And all of a sudden, it starts out with a couple of, as they put it,
Treasure divers.
treasure divers that they were saying they come from money, so they're just out, exploring.
Scavenger hunters.
Yes, and they go missing, but their boat is found. They're missing, but they retrieve a camera, and so he sends the camera. Brody sends the camera off to get the film developed, and in the meantime,
there is an Amityville beauty pageant girl who cuts the
Uh,
ribbons for a new resort.
you mean Amity?
it's
Yeah,
just Amity
Amity.
here.
Yeah, it's an Amity resort of some sort. And you got the high school band in the background playing Downtown. Everyone downtown. And there's a new developer that the mayor is working with who is just so happens to be Chief Brody's wife's boss. Correct, Tammy?
Yes.
And he seems to be a sleazy kind of guy.
Yeah, he makes a comment that he doesn't know what he would do without her, and Brody says, "Neither do I."
Yeah. At that point, I actually thought that might be some foreshadowing of something bad happening to Brody's wife, but fortunately not after all.
But anyways, yes. So these two treasure seekers are missing and everything, and they had that ceremony, and um, then you've got these. The kids are all on the beach having fun and everything, and um, they're
There's a
watching. They're watching a girl water ski, and the grandmother's they're at her place watching and everything, and all of a sudden she goes in the water, and the
you
person
see blood.
driving the person, well, they don't see blood at first. The person driving the boat is looking for her.
Well, yeah, but you see blood where she went down.
Right. Well, the on shore they don't though.
No,
We do, but and while she's looking for the girl that went in the water, the shark attacks the boat, and in her um, how do you in her frenzy to get rid of the shark, she ends up dumping gasoline on her when she meant to dump it on the shark. It dumped on her, and so when she lit the flare to try and burn the shark, which she did end up burning the shark, but she blew up herself in the boat too. So then
That was
spit out.
Spudow.
yeah, Spudow. I'm sorry.
So the investigators can only go by what the people on the shore saw, and nobody on the shore saw the shark. So nobody knows exactly what. It's just because it's just chalked up to a tragedy. Nobody knows exactly what all happened, and they're looking for the body of the water skier. Um, you know, Brody orders it that they keep looking for the bodies, and so he's got a bad feeling, but he doesn't know anything as of yet. So the next thing we do see though is the kids are out on the beach, and they come across the body of a killer whale. Isn't it a killer whale?
Yeah,
Yes.
Or
there is
the
there.
carcass of a killer whale. And so Brody calls this lady and everything, and he's insisting to her that this is a shark bite that killed this whale, and she's blowing it off, and they're taking measurements, and he keeps insisting, and she's like, well, it have to, for being a killer whale, it'd have to be a sizable shark, and he's like, yes, you know, that's a shark bite, and he's insisting that it's a shark that killed this whale. And she's trying to say, oh, it was killed like 10 miles out and this and that a couple days
Evidently,
ago and everything.
she's one who wasn't there during the last killing spree. Sharks don't
Right.
do this at all. They don't go after people with personal vendettas.
And they don't usually go after the killer whale, you know? So she
Well,
keeps blowing it off with, but Brody, so Brody's upset and he's walking the shoreline and he sees wood, some piece of wood or whatever in the water, and decides to wade out there to it. Yeah, much to his surprise, he comes across the burnt up body, which
Ouch,
really
yeah.
surprised him.
That was a pretty intense moment.
Yes, there was a very intense moment, and he's he's trying. After that, he's trying to tell them that this is happening all over again, you know. But nobody's gonna listen to him. So the festivities are starting to take place, and he's up in his. I don't want to say a crow's nest because it's up. It's supposed to be so you can watch for sharks thing.
Yeah, it somehow always has to happen during the festivities, not at any other time.
But you know, like David had mentioned earlier, everybody is, oh, this is our money time. You know, this is this. So, and you know, and Brody's tried to tell him, I've been through this before. You know,
And I'm not going to go through it again.
Yeah, but I mean, it's strange. How come the shark always attacks during the tourism season or whatever? How come it's never at any other time? But
because it knows that it's feeding time at that time. It has a calendar. It marked off the days. You know, when it gets to this day, it's feeding frenzy. Time to go back and visit.
yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, while he's up in his thing, there's some visitors that are the little girl and her mom were wondering what he was doing up in that thing, and they're trying to brush it all off as though it's, he's just, watching over everything. And the little girl was like, no, that's a shark observation thing. So why is he up there? And so, yeah.
Yeah, she knows the truth, and the others are trying to make a fool out of her.
So while he's up there, he thinks that he sees a shark, and he orders everybody out of the water, and
He
he
runs
starts
down the
shooting
beach waving his a gun, which scares a lot of
and then he
the
does
people.
shoot at something, and then
Yep.
everybody's telling of the one boys, they're going, it's just bluefish, it's just bluefish.
It's just a school of bluefish. Yeah, and his wife even walks away from him like she's disappointed in him.
So after this, you feel bad for Brody because we know that there is another shark. Okay, but he cannot get anybody else to listen to him like they didn't listen to him the first time around. But now he has lost his job.
True.
Yep.
And before he totally lost his job, though, he got those pictures back, and he's trying to show them at the board. Look at, that's an eye. Look at this. Look at it. He's showing them and they don't see it. They're passing the picture around, and they just don't see it.
Dumbasses.
So they say goodbye to Mr. Brody.
Yep.
But now the guy that is now going to take over his job is his good friend, and he doesn't want it. Brody doesn't want him to feel bad. He's like, hey, So he's trying to convince his wife, though, that there is a shark. There really is.
Oh, yes.
And then he has to drive her into work, and something is happening in town because there's an ambulance that is heading towards the docks, and he has to follow it to
They
see
come
what
to find
happens.
out that there were some people that were out on a dive, and the one guy got spooked by something and came up too fast.
So right
And
now the guy is unconscious, and they don't really know whether it was a shark incident or not. But in the whole process, the guy who was telling him about the diver also talked about some kids who went out earlier on the boats, and they're like, they swivel their necks and are like, "What kids?" To find out that both of their kids are out there, headed out to some lighthouse, right?
Yes.
So, Tammy, continue.
well, yeah, that's when like the whole big everything comes together, because now he's not a, he had told his son, that the oldest son, that he was
Grounded.
supposed to be working. He was supposed to be working for the summer, and he went and snuck out. And the youngest, convinced the convinced him to take him with. Otherwise, he was gonna spill the beans on him.
Uh, yeah, well, one thing I think Brody kind of did wrong there was telling his older son that he is grounded, instead of saying you shouldn't go there because it's dangerous, you could get yourself killed. If he had said that, maybe then the older son wouldn't want to go.
No, maybe, but he was a teenager. If he would have said that, who knows if he would have listened to him any better than being grounded. You don't know. Being a teenager, he might have just blown it off like, "Oh, Dad, come on, really? We're gonna go through this again," you know. So
I I don't know, but if I was in the son's situation, I know how I would have reacted. Even as a teenager, I liked my safety.
but anyways, yes, they start out on this adventure, and you know everybody's having fun. They all they all got their boats, and they're all heading out. And then the one young couple decides to lag behind, because they're going to have a little bit of hanky panky before they get with everybody else.
Oh yeah, but they end up having coitus interruptus.
Yes, the shark the shark attacks their boat, and the boyfriend falls over, and and he almost makes it to the boat, but shark got him.
But Spudo.
And um, later they find the boat floating. Brody and them find the Brody and his wife and the other deputy find the boat floating and find her in hysterics. And
Yes.
all she can mutter out is shark.
Oh yeah, she must have gotten one hell of PTSD there.
So Brody takes off with the boat and heading towards the lighthouse, looking for the rest of the kids. And he has contacted a helicopter to look for them too, to tell them to come back. In the meantime, the kids decided that they're gonna go further than the lighthouse. They know a better spot, and um,
I believe it was Cable Island,
Cable Junction, I think it is.
Cable Junction.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Cable Junction.
But on their way there, guess who shows up?
Sharky Shark.
Oh yeah.
Sharky Shark. Baby Shark, 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 Baby Shark. No, just kidding.
This ain't no baby
Hooty hoot
shark.
hoot 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 hoot. I'm sorry.
No, this ain't no baby shark.
Yeah, that wasn't a baby.
There's a 15-pound furry one running around here, but
Oh yeah.
anyways, if in fact Diego looked like he was actually watching the movie with us. It was funny.
Wow.
Yep. Except it was his tail in the water.
Ouch. Yeah, he probably wouldn't like that.
Oh no, his tail seems to have a mind of its own. Not that this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but it's so funny. He can
Yep.
lay on his cat tree and have his tail dangling, and if you just sit there and go tail, his tail will move. And you just say tail, and the tail will move. All you have to do is say tail, or where's that tail? Anything that's got any, if you say tail in at all, the tail moves. Not any part of it, not the rest of them, just the tail. It's funny because you can sit there, just see that tail hanging, and go tail, and you'll see the tail start moving.
Interestingly enough, just as we are talking about your cat, my cat has just walked into the room.
Does your cat do that if you say something about its tail?
Not really.
Ah.
Apparently, she wants to go outside. Okay, you go outside then.
What's your cat's name?
Lucy.
Lucy?
Yeah. Like one of the girls in this movie, funnily enough.
It's funny because sometimes when Tammy Tammy wants me to do something, she calls me, "Hey Lucy," because I think she's referring to Lucille Ball.
Yes, I am.
And why is she calling you that?
Because because she's
She
Desi,
gets into all kinds of mischief
yeah,
on
and
her show.
And Desi would always be like, Lucy.
Yeah, but why do you use her name to call Dave?
Because he's doing something stupid like she did.
Dave, I think you're gonna start. You're gonna have to start wearing dresses.
No, nope, not gonna happen.
No, he just sometimes.
You can wear Boris. You can wear enough dresses for the both of us.
He sometimes does something that's just off the wall, like Lucy did, and Desi would go, Lucy. But anyways,
okay, I'm sorry.
We need to get back to the movie. So then, yes, the shark does a nice attack, and everybody goes sprawling all over the place. And I always forget everybody's names, but
Yeah, I was struggling to pick up on the names too. I remember
the
Brody's.
older boy, yeah, the older boy hits his head, and they manage to get him in the boat, though, just in the like very nick of time, because the shark tries to get him, and that's when
Yeah,
you get to see that the shark actually did get burned from that other encounter
uh,
as it comes alongside the boat like that, as they get him in there just in time as the shark just goes alongside the boat, but you get to see the shark and see that, yeah, it is burned, and the everybody else is trying to clamor themselves together, and they decide, since their boat is still okay, that they're gonna take, is it Michael, is that his name?
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
gonna
the older son is Michael, the younger son is Sean. The
Yep.
Okay.
screamer was Jackie, right? I
They
Yeah.
remember the.
decide they're gonna take Michael and go for help because their boat still is working.
Well, and the there was a moment before that which I don't think we talked about where okay, there were these two nerdy looking dudes that they were talking to each other about you know going out with the cuter chicks. And it turns out that the nerdier looking well, one of the guys got to be with the blonde uh who was the Amity beauty pageant girl, Miss Amity. Um, and they're actually hitting it off actually pretty good actually for because she was like, what can we do in the meantime? He's like, I can think of a few things. And then of course that's when the shark hit and he fell into the water. The boat floated off a little bit, and she sees the shark coming. The shark gets him, and we the next time we see her, she's found hidden in the boat, and she is shell shocked, basically. When Chief Brody and his officer and his wife and he flagged down another boat for them to go back on, and he went off on his own. I can't hear you. You're muted, Tammy.
We already discussed all that.
Oh, we did?
Yes, we did. That's
Okay,
like
I
we
didn't
were
know.
saying. She probably has you know,
Oh,
PTSD.
gotcha.
We're way
Yeah.
past that. We're
Sorry. I
yeah.
just thought that she was kind of cute.
Oh, we
So
could say
we're way
so.
past that. We're already to where Michael, Michael is knocked out and just about got eaten, and now they're gonna go take Michael look for help, because
Yeah.
their boat is the only boat that is workable at the time.
And there is a chick that ends up getting totally eaten.
Yes,
Uh,
while they're waiting for help, and because the shark is still circling, and they're trying to tie the boats together to try and stay together. And yes, the shark comes up and knocks everybody off the boats again, and she doesn't make it back onto one before he comes. The shark comes up and gets her from behind, and poor Sean has to see that like firsthand.
yep.
So that puts poor little Sean in a state of panic
Yep.
now.
And our residential screamer scream.
Oh my, yeah.
So
because she can't stop screaming.
so
Yeah.
Brody ends up coming across the three boys, which one of them is Michael. Michael has regained consciousness now, and he tells them to continue going to the lighthouse, I believe, and asks them where the rest of them are. And Brody continues. In the meantime, the helicopter has located them, and the helicopter is going to tow them to the I believe to that junction, to the cable junction or whatever, and everybody's all happy because the helicopter showed up and everything, and they get the line attached and everything, and the helicopter's just gonna take off and start towing them, and the shark grabs a hold of the landing part of the helicopter, and it just pulls it under.
Oh yeah, that helicopter really went down.
Yeah. So all of their hopes of being towed are are gone now. So now they're drifting, and they're hoping that, but they're drifting to a point where they don't think they're going to hit that cable junction, and so just as they're um then Brody shows up, and Brody's going to try to now he's going to try and tow him in or whatever. And
Unfortunately, his towing doesn't entirely work right away, and I think eventually he tries to throw them away for them to be towed, and it gets caught on an electrical line.
well, the shark interferes,
Yeah,
and then Brody runs the boat up on the thing.
yeah,
So
up
now the
on the
boat's
cable junction.
yep. So now the boat's no good.
Now, supposedly behind the scenes, they had trouble shooting some of that because their island, well, their island decided to head on its way to Cuba. That it was because it was a man-made island that they had made, and it kind of like floated away, like during the weather. So they had a hell of a time bringing it back for them to film these next parts.
Interesting.
Right, Tammy?
Yes, I thought that was interesting when we were watching the behind the scene that their island took off on them. I was like, what?
But in any case, back to the storyline.
Yeah, where are we?
I believe we're about where the, Brody has pretty much upended his boat onto the island.
Oh,
Tammy, did you want to bring us home?
So yeah, the the whole time the shark is circling, and as David said, our screamer is continuing to scream
Yeah.
very
Which
excessively.
yes, almost too obsessively. It's like, come on now.
So yes, there's six of them that decide they're going to get off of the boats and try and swim to the junction because of the shark keeps wrecking everything.
And one of the
So
females that ends up being in the water, she gets sideswiped with the teeth. It's not that she gets killed; she gets damaged.
right, so the six of them do make it to there, but Sean and the screamer are still on the boat. The
Yeah.
collection of boats,
Yeah,
and Brody is trying his best to get to them, and he's got this inflatable boat, and um, his uh, con- his contraption pulled up that electrical thing.
which is connected to the cable junction island, which
Right.
he realizes that there's like 20,000 boats over there.
So yes, when that comes up out of the water, he realizes exactly what that is, and he's trying to lure the shark away from the Sean and the girl, and so he starts pounding on it to try and get the shark to come, and then nobody realizes what he's doing. He's just, you know, trying to get the to come over, and finally, he gets the shark's attention, and he gets and it comes for him, and he's like, "Come on, come on, come
Bon
on!"
appetit.
Oh, yep. Bon
Oh.
appetit. And then you see the shark open. It's like, eat this. You know,
Oh yeah, that was
there was
that
your,
was a.
but
On one hand, it was a really good spudal. On the other hand, that's a lot of wasted shark meat.
Although we all know that it was a mechanical shark, so it wasn't really real shark meat.
Yeah, of course. I was just saying within the story.
so, yep, he destroys the shark. Everybody's rescued. La 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 la.
And that's pretty much the end of the movie because you see you see them just paddling back. I think on that flotation device that he had, and that's when the credits roll in. So that's pretty much the movie. So at the end of everything, what did y'all think about the production overall?
I really have no complaints about it. I think everything was pretty good, especially for the time period. I'm not sure if they were using any CGI, but
I don't think so at this point in time. I don't think there was much CGI. I don't think there was any CGI at this point in time in film history yet.
oh,
Um,
well, oh, okay, maybe.
I believe it was all practical effects.
On the other hand, though, the Superman movie that we mentioned, the first one was from 1978. Wait, isn't that the same year as this movie?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, maybe they did have CGI at that point in time. They just didn't use it.
I don't think
They
they really had it at that point in time. I mean, it might have been
do you think that Superman used CGI?
Well, I'd say
cable.
so.
Superman used cables.
Uh, Tables.
Yeah, cables.
Oh, cables. Wasn't the flying done with green screens?
The Flying Nun.
The flying wasn't the flying done with green screens.
Yeah, I believe so, so. That and cables. And then I would have to say the coloring behind Superman when he was going around the Earth like 700,000 times.
Ah, yeah.
That was I don't believe that was entirely CGI. I do believe that he. I'm not even sure if they used CGI in the original Superman. They might have. I don't know. I'd
I
have to
think if
look into it.
CGI existed back then, it was in it had just started, and
Yeah.
so I don't think they really had, you know, much that they could use. So, um, well, I've said this before about older
When did
movies. I that
CGI?
I like a lot of the older movies because they had to use their mind, they had to use their imagination, they had to use
Actually, let's see.
whatever.
CGI or computer generated imagery first appeared in films in the late 1950s. Examples appearing in the title sequence of Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo from 1958. While Vertigo utilized 2D CGI for its title sequence, the first feature film to incorporate CGI within its narrative was Westworld, 1973, which featured a 2D CGI vision of a robot. The technology continued to develop with more extensive uses in films like Tron from 1982 and Jurassic Park in 1993,
Whew.
eventually leading to the first fully CGI animated feature film, Toy Story, in 1995. So
Interesting.
I didn't realize that Alfred Hitchcock used CGI.
Well, I just know that a lot. I like a lot of the older movies because, like I said, they you had to use you couldn't rely on CGI. With the older movies, and even this one's old enough too. They had to use their imagination, use what they could use, and um, because CGI was so new, I'm sure CGI was expensive.
Yep,
So a lot of even
Probably.
though it was out there, whether or not they could afford it is a whole nother story. You know,
Oh,
so
good
they had
point.
to rely on themselves to make things happen.
yep,
Because that they made the shark. There was
yep.
two
They
different
made it
things,
from the mold of the original shark. That's for sure. But
and there was no CGI on this shark. This was the shark. You know,
if there was any CGI used, it might have been used for that ending explosion. But I don't think there was any used. You know that the electrical fire that started because of that was a natural thing that happened because they crunched down on that wire and set in motion the shock of its life or death, should I say? The
Yeah.
death of the death of the shark.
Spudo.
But
We could say the shark was toast.
you could say that again. I think that the way the shark looked fairly similar to the original shark. I mean, they could not use the original Jaws shark because evidently it's just sat rotting in a back lot, and they couldn't use it. So that what they did is they took the mold or moldings of the original shark and made a new one with a new technology and whatnot. And this one worked a little bit better, but they still had fairly similar, uh, you know,
problems
weather
because of the
conditions.
yeah, because and the salt water just ate at everything, and not and then there was the weather conditions because they said um, they did some of the film. They did some of the filming like down in Florida, like with the shark, and they did the other
Well,
filming.
and they had problems with showing the sharks swimming away, so they actually reutilized some film footage that they had used from a couple that had filmed some underwater scenes for them for the first Jaws,
And they
which
had a fin, just a fin that they used that they would pull across.
yeah.
And then when they were doing some of the scenes where you just see the fin,
In fact,
it really was just a fin.
they put a fin on top of like a small motorized speedboat in order to do that fast fin after the skier. I believe that they had a remote boat that they attached a fin to in order to make it go faster.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I think and I'm glad that they actually showed the shark um with the bird and everything after that first incident because if they didn't, that would that wouldn't have been right. We know the shark got burned, so for them to remember to make the shark look like it got burned and everything, you know what I mean? Sometimes when they're filming stuff, it's like, hey, wait a minute, didn't this happen? And something looks perfectly fine,
Well,
but
yeah, that would
you
be
don't
called a
see.
continuing shot because you see in one. It's just like if in one day it was not in one scene it was night, and then the next scene is day. You notice that shit, you know.
Ah,
Right. So
yeah.
if the shark wouldn't have been burned, that would have been noticeable. So they made sure that they showed it. That it did have that it did get burned. So
Yes.
Okay. So, uh, uh, what did you did everyone say what they wanted to on productions?
oh well, the
Why?
only other thing I'll say is I agree with you, David, about that one girl could. She did not have to scream quite as much as she did.
Well, truth be told, we can laugh at her, but on the other hand, if we were in that situation, who is to say that we wouldn't be screaming just as much?
I wouldn't be screaming.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I don't think I'd be screaming as much as she was. I would have been trying to figure out how the hell to get off of the water.
Well,
That's what I would have
maybe,
been trying to
but
figure out. I wouldn't have just
none
been
of
sitting
us.
there going screaming my head off. I would have been trying to figure out how the hell do I get out of this.
Although your reaction to spiders is always pointing and saying spider.
Well, none of us has ever been in such a shark situation, I assume. So,
I
how
killed
can
a
we
spider at
really?
work the other day, so there.
Oh, so you didn't just point at the spider and say spider?
I didn't have a choice. It was right there in front of me on top of the counter.
It-
So I took
and you
the
didn't scream,
It's because of tomorrow.
Spider!
It's because of Tamara Strand. There's a shortage of spiders.
I took the wooden dowel that we locked the windows with. It just would smash.
Ouch.
And
It's
then when it was kind of still moving at the end of the dowel, I stuck the dowel out the window and made it fall off.
Ew. Ew.
well, and of course we have the iconic Jaws music still,
Oh yes.
which I'm going backwards to.
Yeah, and these kids don't know that yet. See, David used to play with Sassy. I do the da, 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 with the bed sheets and stuff.
Hmm.
He would play with Sassy.
And of course, it's John Williams who was behind the music. So if I remember correctly, John Williams was the one uh, who was behind the Star Wars music as well as behind the Jurassic Park theme, the music for Jurassic Park. Um, and the one that the boys on the other podcast always say he can regurgitate his movies and still get an Oscar, or regurgitate his music, recycle it, and it'll still be the same music, and he'll still get an Oscar for it.
Well, possibly.
But in any case, um, so there was that. I don't think there was any like real music besides the score. So I mean, we didn't even have the "Fair to the Spanish ladies" or "Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed." We didn't
The only
have
other
the.
music was the band at the beginning.
Yeah, the only other music was the band of playing downtown in the very beginning. So that being said, uh, heading into favorite scenes and or favorite characters. So, Boris, what was a favorite scene or scenes and or favorite character?
Favorite scenes? Well, you already know me. My favorite scenes in a movie like this are the spoodaus. The the best one was quite possibly when the shark got electrocuted at the end. But the scene with the boat being set on fire was interesting.
Oh,
And
when Chief Brody made sure that he died by electrocution
yes, yes.
when he forced the shark into old Sparky.
Yeah, but yeah, also that scene with the boat getting burned with gasoline. I think it exploded. That was a good spoodow. And the helicopter spoodow.
That chick purposely poured herself with gasoline, though. You saw that she did. I mean, she literally poured it all over herself. There was no accident about that. The
Ah,
boat didn't even tip, and she poured herself with gasoline. And then she was stupid enough to open up a flare. Of course, she barbecued herself,
when you put it that way.
and she probably tasted like Blitzen.
What?
But in any case, I'm just referring to a Weird Al song, "The Night Santa Went Crazy."
The night Santa went crazy.
Yep.
Sounds like something to add to a less than conventional Christmas playlist.
Down in the workshop. Let's see. I'll have to sing it to you another time. But Tammy, favorite
Mm,
scene or scenes or favorite character?
Um, I think Brody is my favorite character because this poor man just tries so hard, to make people see what's going on, and he's got to, he he's got to be the hero in the end, like in the first one.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, it's. Uh, okay, I'm sorry for interrupting.
favorite scene, I guess I'd have to say the end, because Brody's just like, come on, gets him in the end.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's an ending that you can't really forget. So I'm gonna have to go with that as my favorite scene as well.
Ooh,
Even
yes.
though for some a reason, just for shits and giggles, I do enjoy the fact that this chick just poured gasoline all over herself and made herself her own barbecue. For some reason, I have to somewhat chuckle about it. But
What would
favorite character, um, yeah, would probably be Brody too. But I also enjoy the character of Jaws. Just for the fact that there always seems to be another Jaws movie. Um,
yeah.
and
It's
Steven Spielberg definitely made fun of himself in Back to the Future too, with him coming up with that virtual shark that comes at Marty, and after he's screaming his head off, he comes out of that saying, "You know what? Shark still looks fake." But in any case, other than that, did anyone else have anything else to add?
actually I didn't end up saying my favorite character, but
Oh, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
My favorite character is probably also Brody. I mean, it's kind of hard to choose anyone else as no one else really got that much character development.
Yeah, I would say that. Uh, Unfortunately, there really wasn't much other characters really all that developed in the movie for you to entirely. I mean, but in any case, well, hopefully y'all enjoyed our discussion on this film. Like, share, and subscribe if you have not seen the movie. Go out and see it. And then let us know down in the comments what you thought of our discussion, what you thought of the movie, and we'll definitely see you next week as we're going to be covering Inherit the Wind. I believe that's from 1960. So,
Oh, yes.
and I know that there was a remake in 1999. So eventually I may cover that down the road, but for now, the 1960 version will do, and we'll see you next time. Everyone say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Da-dum, da-dum.
Good night.
Inside movies galore, just makes you just want more. We've had all in the world of media to explore. Horror, anime, or Curious George. Our love of new things was our reward. It is the best night of our week.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.